The mention of Groundhog Day may conjure images of Bill Murray caught in a time loop, but the true history of this peculiar tradition unfolds annually on February 2nd in the town of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Groundhog Day has roots that extend deep into European folklore. While the day is often associated with the quirky prediction of weather by a groundhog, there exists a darker side to this seemingly innocuous celebration. As we delve into the history and origins of Groundhog Day, we must also confront the controversies surrounding it, some of which you may not be aware of. The roots of Groundhog Day trace back to German-speaking areas of Europe, where the badger served as the weather forecaster on Candlemas, February 2nd. If the badger spotted its shadow, for more weeks of winter were anticipated. The lore traveled across the Atlantic with Pennsylvania Dutch immigrants, who embraced it but substituted the badger with the groundhog, known locally as Grundax. In German folklore, Candlemas was marked by the phrase "Sunt sich der Dachs in der Lichtmiswoche" if the badger sunbathes during Candlemas week, suggesting a prolonged winter. The Pennsylvania Dutch, maintaining the tradition, extended winter by 6 weeks upon the groundhog's shadow sighting. The earliest recorded Groundhog Day observance in the United States occurred in German communities in Pennsylvania. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, became the epicenter of Groundhog Day celebrations. In 1887, the first official Groundhog Day took place, with Clymer Fries credited as the visionary behind the idea. The Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, formed in 1899, institutionalized the tradition with annual gatherings, hunts, and feasts. The observance grew, and Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog, was thrust into the spotlight, later gaining his official name in 1961. The largest celebration in Punxsutawney draws crowds of up to 40,000. Significantly boosted by the popularity of the 1993 film, Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil's predictions, meticulously recorded by the Pennsylvania's Groundhog Club, have sparked debates over their accuracy. While the tradition adds a whimsical touch to weather forecasting, various assessments offer conflicting perspectives. Stormfacts Almanac attributes a 39% accuracy to Phil, and Weather Underground's Tim Roche notes a 36% accuracy rate for predicting winter and a 47% rate for forecasting an early spring. The National Centers for Environmental Information place Phil's accuracy at 40% for the 10 years preceding 2019. The Farmer's Almanac claims exactly 50% accuracy, while the National Geographic Society reports a 28% success rate. Groundhog Day Pseudoscientific Evaluation draws attention to the historical reliance on animal behavior for weather predictions. The theory that groundhogs emerged due to increasing temperatures in central Pennsylvania in early February is challenged by observations in central New Jersey, where groundhogs typically emerge in mid-March regardless of Groundhog Day weather. Defining the onset of spring adds complexity to accuracy assessments. While some methods point to March 20th as the first day of spring, the subjective notion of spring arriving early further complicates evaluations. One of the primary criticisms surrounding Groundhog Day revolves around the treatment of the groundhog involved in the festivities. During the events, the groundhog is removed from its burrow and exposed to crowds, loud noises, and bright lights. Animal welfare advocates argue that such conditions can be stressful and harmful to the animal. There have been instances of groundhogs displaying signs of distress, including biting handlers or attempting to escape the chaotic environment. The argument is that using live animals in such events, where they may experience fear and anxiety, raises ethical questions about the impact on their well-being. Efforts have been made by organizers to minimize stress on the groundhogs, including selecting individuals that are more accustomed to human interaction. However, the inherent unpredictability of live animals in public events raises ongoing concerns about their welfare. As Groundhog Day has gained popularity, questions have arisen about the appropriateness of using an animal for a weather prediction ceremony. Advocates for animal rights suggest exploring alternatives, such as using technology or adopting more humane practices to avoid subjecting live animals to stressful situations. The ethical considerations extend beyond the immediate impact on the groundhog. Some argue that the entire premise of relying on an animal for weather predictions perpetuates superstition and diverts attention from more scientifically grounded discussions about climate and weather patterns. While the origins of Groundhog Day are rooted in centuries-old traditions, the ethical landscape has evolved, prompting calls for a re-evaluation of the use of live animals in such festivities. The tension between tradition and ethics raises important questions about the cost of maintaining a celebration that may come at the expense of animal well-being. At the heart of Groundhog Day lies the anticipation surrounding the groundhog's shadow and its supposed ability to predict the weather. However, the scientific accuracy of this weather prediction method is highly questionable, as discussed earlier in the video. Meteorologists and scientists argue that the groundhog's brief appearance or absence of a shadow has no correlation with the complex and varied weather patterns that determine the coming weeks. The reliance on folklore for weather predictions raises concerns about the public understanding of meteorology. Critics argue that the focus on a groundhog's shadow perpetuates superstition and detracts from more serious discussions about climate science. In an era where climate change is a pressing global issue, the symbolic act of relying on a groundhog for weather predictions can be seen as a distraction from the need for evidence-based discussions about environmental challenges. In conclusion, while Groundhog Day is embraced as a light-hearted and whimsical celebration, it is essential to recognize and navigate the darker shadows that linger beneath the surface. The controversies surrounding animal welfare, ethical considerations, and the clash between superstition and science's environmental impact prompt a critical examination of the tradition. As we continue to mark Groundhog Day on our calendars, let us approach the festivities with a heightened awareness of the complexities involved. The evolving nature of cultural celebrations calls for ongoing conversations about how traditions impact the world around us and whether they align with contemporary values and ethical standards. In the spirit of respecting both the history and the present, we can engage in discussions that lead to a more conscientious and thoughtful approach to traditions like Groundhog Day. It is through such conversations that we can bring the shadows into the light, fostering a deeper understanding of the multifaceted aspects of this seemingly simple yet intricately layered celebration. If you liked this video or found it of value, please like the video and consider subscribing. It really helps out our channel and ensures we can continue to bring you great videos in the future. Thanks for watching.